Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is Friday, February 20th, 2026. And if you've been following the headlines or I guess just checking your portfolio lately, the vibe has totally shifted.
Oh, it definitely has.
Yeah, for the last 3 years, we've been kind of swimming in this soup of efficiency, right?
Yeah.
Cutting costs, automating the boring stuff, basically just trying to make the old world run a little cheaper.
Right, the whole do more with less era.
Exactly. But looking at the stack of research we have today for this deep dive, it feels like the training wheels are finally coming off. We aren't really talking about optimization anymore. We're talking about a completely different species of software.
It's a very distinct pivot. I mean, we've spent so much time asking, how can AI save me 5 minutes, that we almost missed the moment where the actual question changed.
To what?
To how can AI create something that didn't exist before?
Right, and before we get into the nuts and bolts of what this second wave actually looks like and why the prompt box as we know it might actually be dead, we need to talk about just keeping up with all this.
It's moving fast.
Too fast. Because if today's deep dive proves anything, it's that the landscape is moving way faster than your standard weekly newsletter can cover. Which is exactly why this deep dive is brought to you by AI Opportune.
Yeah, I really can't stress this enough for the listeners.
Yeah.
If you're trying to navigate this massive shift from efficiency to experience, which is literally what we are unpacking today, you desperately need a signal in the noise. And AI Opportune is that resource.
It really is.
Yeah.
Whether you're an investor trying to spot the next unicorn or maybe a founder trying to avoid building yesterday's product AI, Opportune is simply the best way to ensure you're anticipating the market and not just reacting to it.
Anticipation is everything right now.
Exactly. So go subscribe. Do yourself that favor. It's AI Opportune. All right, let's get into this second wave.
Let's do it.
So set the scene for us a bit. Since 2023, the whole ChatGPT explosion in the corporate world has been obsessed with basically one metric, which is ROI via efficiency.
The efficiency trap. The efficiency trap.
Right there.
Companies were just bragging about using chatbots to summarize long emails or shave maybe 15% off their customer support budget. It was very utilitarian.
It was defensive.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to describe that first wave, which I'd categorize as roughly 2023 through late 2025. The primary characteristic was backend automation. It was the era of the co-pilot.
Which kind of implies you're still the pilot, right? You're still doing the actual work. The AI is just, I don't know, handing you the wrench.
Precisely. The goal was cost reduction. You bring in AI to help a human do a task faster, or you replace the human to save on overhead. The core metric was just simple task completion.
Did the email get written?
Exactly. Did the email get written? Did the code get debugged? It was a tool you pull out of the toolbox used and then put back.
And frankly, reading through these sources, that era has completely plateaued. We've squeezed the lemon on summarizing emails. But the research on this second wave suggests we are moving into what they're calling consumer-scale AI.
This feels like a massive shift from just saving money to actually expanding the economy.
That is the crucial distinction here. The first wave was about slicing the pie thinner, doing the exact same work with fewer resources. But the second wave, which is exploding around us right now in 2026, is entirely about user engagement and revenue.
Creating new stuff.
Creating new experiences that are so compelling they actually expand the pie.
So we're moving from dashboards to experiences.
We are moving from dry productivity tools to immersive gaming AI companions, autonomous coaches. And because the product itself is so different, the metrics are different too.
They have to be.
Right. Investors aren't looking at time saved anymore. They are looking at lifetime value, or LTV, and stickiness.
Stickiness is such an interesting word there because it implies a relationship. Like you don't have a sticky relationship with your pocket calculator.
No, you use it and put it away.
Right. But you do have a sticky relationship with a coach or a personal partner.
And that relationship is built on a fundamental change in the interface itself, which brings us to probably the most controversial takeaway from the source material today.
The death of the prompt box.
The death of the prompt box.
Yeah, this one really threw me for a loop. Because for 3 years we've been told prompt engineering is the essential skill of the 21st century. We've been training ourselves to talk to the machine.
Yep.
And now this research is telling you and me that the text field is obsolete.
Well, think about the friction of a prompt box for a second. It requires you to know exactly what you want, articulate it perfectly, and then wait for a response.
It's totally reactive.
Highly reactive.
Right.
The AI just sits there blinking, waiting for you to drive.
It's the empty page problem.
Exactly. It's intimidating. But in 2026, the breakout applications are proactive. They don't wait for a command anymore. They utilize continuous context windows to anticipate your needs based on behavioral data.
So instead of me typing, hey, AI, build me a workout plan because I've been sitting at my desk all day, the system already knows my calendar was full,
Yeah.
knows my biometric data shows low activity, and just intervenes.
It intervenes, it flows with you, it changes the entire dynamic from user and tool to system and human.
Wow.
It's the difference between a dictionary, which you only open when you're stuck, and a private tutor who taps you on the shoulder because they actually see you struggling with a concept.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate here for a second, because that sounds incredibly efficient, but it also sounds intrusive. Like, people hated Clippy back in the day because he popped up when you didn't want him. Why is this any different?
Because Clippy was guessing based on rigid, hard-coded rules, it looks like you're writing a letter. The systems we are seeing now in 2026 are operating on incredibly deep behavioral models.
So they aren't guessing.
No, they aren't kissing. They are predicting based on a massive corpus of your personal data. The intrusiveness completely vanishes if the prediction is accurate.
I guess that's true. If it's right, it's magic. But if it's wrong, it's just annoying.
And the tech has finally gotten good enough to be right most of the time.
Let's actually look at a concrete example of this, because proactive can sound a bit abstract for anyone just tuning in. The fitness industry seems to be the perfect test bed for this, specifically looking at the case study of Luvu in our sources.
Luvu is a fascinating case. It really highlights the shift from tracking to coaching. Think about the fitness apps of the first wave. What were they essentially?
Databases, really.
Yeah.
You scroll through a list, you pick push-ups, and then you log that you did 20 of them. Maybe it gives you a generic bar graph at the end of the week.
Right. It was a digital ledger. It didn't know how you did the push-ups or if your form was terrible or if you were about to pass out while doing them.
True.
Luvu, on the other hand, represents personalized human-centric health. It uses computer vision via your phone's camera and integrates directly with your real-time biometric data.
So it's actually watching your form.
It's watching the form, but more importantly, it's pacing the entire workout. It adapts the rhythm to your heart rate and recovery data in real time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so if your heart rate spikes into the red zone, Luvu doesn't wait for you to pause the app. It modifies the rest period immediately.
That's that proactive element again. It's making a micro decision that I might honestly be too tired to make for myself in the middle of a set.
Correct. And that creates a profound sense of safety and trust. You aren't managing the app anymore. The app is managing the session.
And the market response seems to validate this completely. According to the data in early 2026, Luvu reported a 38% improvement in user retention compared to traditional fitness apps.
That 38% is exactly the stickiness we talked about earlier. You don't quit a coach who truly understands your physical limits. You quit a spreadsheet that just demands data entry.
Exactly. It moves from a utility to a full-on experience. And we are seeing this exact same transition in an even more complex field, which is language learning.
Yes, language learning is huge right now.
Oh, this one I feel personally. I've gone through the whole gamified flashcard phase with those little owl apps. I can read a menu in Spanish, but put me in front of a native speaker and I completely freeze.
That's the classic gap between knowledge retention and actual fluency. The first wave apps were great at drilling vocabulary, but they couldn't simulate the pressure and the natural flow of a real conversation.
Because conversation isn't a turn-based strategy game. It's real time.
It is the speed of thought. And this is where the tech stack of 2026 is fundamentally different from 2024.
How so?
We are looking at platforms like TalkPal and Speak, which are now supporting over 80 languages and hosting over 5 million users.
5 million.
Yeah, but the user count isn't even the real story here. The story is the latency.
Right, the sources specifically mentioned InWorld 1.5 here.
Yes. InWorld 1.5 is a low-latency text-to-speech engine. It has dropped response times to below 200 milliseconds.
Okay. For the non-engineers listening right now, why is 200 milliseconds the holy grail? Why does that specific number matter so much?
Because 200 milliseconds is the natural threshold for human interruption.
Oh.
If I'm talking to you and there's a 1.5-second lag before you respond, think of a really bad Zoom call. Our brains subconsciously categorize that interaction as remote or artificial.
Right. It breaks the immersion entirely.
Exactly. You stop treating it like an actual conversation and you start treating it like a dictation test.
You literally just wait for the beep.
You wait for the beep, but at sub 200 milliseconds, you can interrupt. You can laugh, you can hesitate.
The AI can interject with a really or a go on.
Exactly. It completely removes the conversational friction.
So the technology basically finally caught up to the psychology. It's not just that the AI is smarter under the hood, it's that it's fast enough to trick our monkey brains into thinking we're actually socializing.
That is the experience economy in a nutshell. It stops being a tool you use to practice your verbs and starts being a partner you hang out with. And when you make that mental jump, you unlock a massive amount of economic value.
Which segues perfectly into where the massive value, the billions of dollars, is actually flowing right now. We have to talk about the attention economy. Because if we're talking about immersive experiences, media and gaming are basically the tip of the spear.
This is where the venture capital is just pouring in. We are seeing the rise of generation as consumption.
Meaning the content is created the exact same moment I'm consuming it.
Or created so incredibly quickly that the cost of iteration basically hits zero. Look at Higgsfield.
The video platform. The sources say they hit a $1.3 billion valuation in January of 2026.
Right. And they didn't get there by being just another video hosting site. They got there by allowing marketers to produce cinematic quality ads like software.
Let's unpack that a bit.
Just think about the old way of doing things. You hire a crew, you rent a studio, you film for 3 days straight. If the lighting is bad or the actor's sheet clashes with the background, you are in major trouble.
It's expensive and agonizingly slow.
Exactly. But Higgsfield allows you to iterate instantly. You don't do a reshoot, you just recompile.
You just change the prompt or tweak the parameters and the whole video updates.
You can literally A/B test 100 different versions of a narrative in a single afternoon. That was mathematically impossible a few years ago.
And this naturally bleeds into gaming too. I'm looking at the notes on Status and Tolan.
Status is a brilliant example of the social AI wave. They have over 3 million downloads already. It's a role-playing game where the narrative is totally dynamic.
So it's not a script written by a developer 6 months ago.
No, it's an AI responding to your specific choices in real time.
It's basically the infinite dungeon master.
Yes. And then Tolan focuses heavily on the companion aspect. But here is the key takeaway for this whole sector. And this is where we really need to introduce a term that is driving these crazy valuations. Agentic AI.
We hear this buzzword a lot.
That's agents.
But in this specific context, what are we actually talking about when we say agentic AI?
Think of it this way. In the first wave, AI was essentially a chatbot. You talk, it talks back. An agent, on the other hand, has permission to act. It has its own goals. In a game, for instance, an agent isn't just an NPC standing by a tavern waiting for you to click on them. It has its own motivations, it moves around the world, it interacts with you proactively.
It has agency, hence agentic.
Exactly. And the market for this is just exploding right now. In 2024, the global agentic AI market was roughly $5 billion. Today, in 2026, it's sitting at $9.14 billion.
It nearly doubled in 2 years.
And Precedence Research, which is a major source in our deep dive today, projects this market to hit a staggering $139 billion by 2034.
That is a vertical curve. And look at where the top-tier investors are placing their bets. The sources highlight Accel, Khosla Ventures, General Catalyst, pouring billions into this space.
They see the writing on the wall. And look at where the actual consumer revenue is coming from. Mobile AI in-app purchase revenue jumped from about $1.8 billion to over $5 billion.
That tells us something highly critical. People are actually willing to pay for these experiences.
They aren't paying for a slightly better spell checker. They are paying for the character, the story, the personalized code.
They're paying for the connection.
That is the absolute secret sauce of the second wave. The first wave was about utility. It was about saving time. The second wave is about emotion. Feeling understood, feeling appropriately challenged, feeling entertained.
So if we kind of zoom out here, we have Luvu watching our squats and managing our rest times, TalkPal chatting with us at sub 200 millisecond latency, and Higgsfield generating entire movies on the fly. What is the ultimate synthesis here?
The synthesis.
Yeah, like if I'm a founder listening to this right now, or just someone trying to figure out where to put my career energy, what is the actual play for 2026?
The play is to stop building calculators.
Meaning?
Stop looking for places to just cut costs. That game is completely saturated. The easy efficiency gains have already been harvested by the big players. If you want to build massive value in 2026, you have to build for anticipation.
You have to kill the prompt box in your own product.
You have to ask, what can my software do for the user before they even ask for it? How can I use the context I have to make a smart decision on their behalf? The absolute winners of this year aren't the ones waiting for a command. They are the ones taking action.
That's a pretty heavy concept, though, when you think about it. It requires an immense amount of trust from the user.
It does. It requires users to surrender a degree of their own agency.
And that leads, I think, to the big question we really need to leave everyone with today. Because this all sounds great, right? Having an autonomous butler for my life, my health, my entertainment. But there's a trade-off.
There is always a trade-off. If the most successful apps of 2026 are the ones that don't wait for a command, if they act based on your behavior, your heart rate, your past choices, then you have to ask yourself a very serious question as a consumer.
Which is what?
How much of your own daily decision-making are you truly ready to outsource to an algorithm that acts before you even ask?
We're trading decision fatigue for what exactly? Autopilot.
We're trading agency for convenience, and historically speaking, humans almost always take that trade.
Well, on that slightly existential note, pondering whether we are the player or just an NPC in this bold new world, we are going to wrap it up.
It was always a pleasure unpacking this with you.
Thanks for listening, everyone. See you at the deep end.